Well, we hope you found that recorded piece informative as we enter our studio discussion of the FAIR Plan here. I'm Mark Mumford. I'm going to try and facilitate this discussion, and we have four very informed guests to help us get to some important aspects of this very complex situation that we find ourselves in here on the Cape and Islands in particular. And first of all, to my immediate left is Paula Ascitino. Hello, Paula.
Thank you.
And the head of Citizens for Homeowners Insurance Reform. Certainly glad to have you on board today, Paula.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And to my immediate right is Jack Golembeski, the president of the Massachusetts FAIR Plan. Hello, Jack.
My pleasure.
To my far left is State Senator Robert O'Leary, familiar to most of us here on the Cape and Islands. Senator, glad to have you with us.
Mark.
Absolutely. And to my far right is Steve D'Amato, the consultant with the Center for Insurance Research, a research and advocacy group. Steve, glad to have you on board as well.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Well, you know, it's hopefully the piece that the folks at home just saw has given them sort of a basis. I know many people are very familiar with the basic points of what we call the FAIR Plan. And you know, before I get started, Jack, with your position with the FAIR Plan is sort of a catchphrase we use, but what's the official name of this plan?
The official name is the Massachusetts Property Insurance Underwriting Association. And it is an association of all the property and casualty companies that write business in Massachusetts. They're required by law to be members, and we provide on their behalf property insurance to any property owner in Massachusetts who is unable to secure it through the normal insurance market. These companies support the FAIR Plan financially. If we have any losses, they are required to make it up. And we've operated in Massachusetts since the late 60s.
Now, it's often called the insurance plan of last resort. And I don't know if that's a title you particularly like, but when it was instituted many years back, it was seen as basically that, and it was seen as something for a very small group of people. Is that correct?
Well, yes. It was originally organized really for insurance problems in urban markets, not coastal, but urban markets. But the legislature broadened it in the early 70s so that any property owner in Massachusetts would be able to get insurance. The market of last resort, I think, is a proper term to be used, because that really is the purpose of the FAIR Plan. To have the voluntary market work and operate the way a private enterprise should operate. But this is more a safety valve, because if in fact you don't have a safety valve in place where people can get insurance, you open yourselves up to creating certainly significant problems in the real estate market and the inability of individuals to get mortgages.
Now, Paula, you as a property owner here on the Cape, correct? And I'm not sure how long you've been on the Cape.
Since 1998.
1998. And you sort of have been feeling the impact of these rising costs in homeowners insurance from a very personal level. And you've certainly seen a lot of your friends and neighbors be impacted by this as well. Give me your baseline assessment of where this stands now.
Well, where it stands now is that so many people, we have over 4,000 people that are part of our organization, Citizens for Homeowners Insurance Reform. And what started out even last fall as a call to citizens to take action because of the rising costs and also the number of insurance companies that were leaving the Cape. We have now grown to this large number, and each month, or I'm not sure how their renewal dates are, as other citizens receive their letters of either non-renewal or such an increase still in their rates. And as we know, rate increases are presently being requested. There is a crisis here. And on the Cape, the islands, the North Shore is starting to feel the impact. They haven't reacted quite as much as what they're back where we were in 2003. The South Coast is very involved, and this goes over the bridge and all the way up to Quincy. We have now members from property owners from all over the state, and actually all over the United States, that own properties in the Cape that are impacted with this situation.
Senator Leary, how big an issue is this for you and your constituents at this point?
I think Paul is absolutely right. It's a crisis, and it's a financial crisis. We've guessed, I haven't got clear figures on this, but we did some calculations, and I think we figured from 2003 till 2006 the general rate increase for the Cape and Islands has been on the order of $100 million in increased premiums. That is $100 million sort of come out of people's pockets from the Cape and Islands and gone into the insurance industry to, frankly meet these rate increases. So, and if you break it down to the individual homeowner, it's been, I think, on the order of $600 to $700 in rate increases annually. It's an enormous problem, and people are calling. We have people, as you know, on fixed incomes down here. People want to think it's the rich waterfront property owners that are really bearing the burden, and they are as well. But it's people, inland. It's people living in subdivisions all across the Cape and Islands in relatively modest homes. It's people on relatively fixed incomes, and I like to say, you cannot. It's not something you choose to buy or not choose to buy. If you own a home, if you have a mortgage, you have to have homeowners insurance. So it's a non-discretionary cost, and it's really hurting people. People are in trouble in some cases. People are at risk in some cases of losing their homes, particularly if this process continues. People are looking out another year or two and they're saying, I won't be able to afford this if this continues. So it's a real concern.